All right, my friends, you're here for a reason. Consistent profits in any market condition, crypto and stocks. I promise you this will be worth your time. Okay, we're going to discuss a groundbreaking quantitative analysis tool that has investors and retail traders getting 25 to 35% and more monthly returns. Do you know anyone who has lost money in crypto, stocks, or precious metal investments? Maybe even it's you. Statistics more or less say that about 90% or so of people trading or investing in crypto or stocks lose money. Or they get stuck holding assets for years, hoping they will return to all-time high or at least to their entry price. What makes you think that you'll come out alive or profitable, that is? Okay. So, therefore, we're on a mission to prevent individuals and families from losses in the financial markets, and we have been successfully doing so. So, stay with me, okay? This is me and my wife, Ivana. I'm a certified asset manager. This is a little clip from a crypto event where we went to see Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase. So let's get right into it, okay? If you are a newbie or just started in crypto or stocks, this might even be easier for you to sort of like chew on and swallow than those who have been doing this for 10 to 15 years, just based on my conversations. But whichever side you're on, stay with me. I promise you, as I said, it will be worth your time. It's worth looking at. And most likely, why I say for those who have been doing this longer, some of them just get upset or very skeptical. Upset, why? Because they just haven't been able to have something like that. They use charts and all kinds of analysis, and nothing works even closely to what we have. So I will show you the proof in the pudding and much more. Let's get into it. Some of the screenshots from one of the first batch of people that have worked with us. We formed a group for them so we can chat. This one says, I'm on the road to 50% this month again without any sense of fear and greed. The two main things that make people lose money, okay? How is it so accurate? Damn, that's insane, this person says, okay? I have to admit, this is one of the first times I bought a stock and got out so quickly. That's what we do here, okay? Here's another one. Actually, I don't even read the news anymore, and I'll tell you why, okay? No news, narratives, none of that is needed with what we do. This tool is unique. Before I listen to the news every day for an hour, now I just check the energy and your levels. It's crazy stuff. So I'll tell you all about those levels, okay? So most people pick stocks on a hunch. They say, "Oh, I have a good gut feeling. I've picked some good ones." But can you repeat it consistently? Month to month, weeks, and months and years to come. Most people can't. They have some big wins that they share, but they don't talk about the losses. Okay, so it works sometimes. Usually, it's not a scalable or repeatable strategy. And let's not even talk about those YouTubers and people who say how they made 150,000 on a 700 meme. Nobody's able to repeat that. That's just gambling, pure luck. Okay, quants are different. They use math, data, and AI to make predictions. By the way, arguably the most successful hedge fund for years has been the Medallion Fund. You can look it up, okay? Founded by Jim Simmons, averaging 66% annually due to the fund's proprietary quantitative trading strategies. Using instruments such as currencies, options, and futures, quants turn market swings into profit. In our case, it's not, quote unquote AI, it's not technical analysis, and it certainly has zero to do with narratives or news. It's a mathematical tool that can see changes before they come, okay? The rest remains in our black box, but I'll dive into examples and how this works so you have a very good grasp and then see what you want to do with it. See, AI is all over now, but AI can only do scalping and chase green candles. That's why the AI trading bots you see in the marketplace can't produce more than about 10%. Some do like 7, 5, 7, 8, 9. I haven't seen more, a month returns, because AI cannot accurately predict the change before it happens, as it either uses news and other sources, which are manipulations of their own, or bases the decisions on historical data. It's machine learning after all. So how do we see when the change is coming? Well, we don't chase green or red candles. It means you're already late to the pump. We arrive, or basically set orders, months, weeks before the pump, as my business partner says, okay? And that's why our entries are way better than most hedge funds. If you work with us, and I could send you, some more screenshots of where Cathie Wood and ARK Invest buys, and not even seeing that the entry is going to be another 20% lower. But that's a whole different discussion. No time for this now. So the financial market is basically controlled, and stay with me here, as I said, by a very complex, let's call it an algorithm or system, that constantly pushes asset prices to predetermined significant levels at which assets receive basically new energy, okay, and either crash down from there or pump up. This is where people get stuck, okay? Why? Because they're not able to see where those shifts will happen, and therefore the roller coaster starts. Oh, my portfolio went from 100K to 130K. Oh shit, it's 70K now, and so forth. The game if you've been in it for a while, okay? So entering or exiting at these pivotal moments is what allows us not to buy the middle or a pump, but rather profit greatly in the shortest amount of time, okay? So most people are oblivious to it. They believe it's the news, rate cuts, they wait for that, a great team behind the project, or market cap of a crypto coin. They wait for the release of a company's earnings that will affect the stock price. Why we don't do that? Because we have that level mapped out to where it's gonna go before, okay? And we don't even care if it's gonna go up and down. I can tell you more about it, in a conversation, but basically why? Because once again, we don't chase a green candle if something's going up, because we already have entered it before it goes up, or the other way around, we exit before some news break about Trump doing this and that and punishing a pharmaceutical company, which I'll bring you that example in a little bit here on screen. We have those levels before, and the news arrived later. I know for a lot of you, the longer you've been in it, it's going to be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? So once again, stay with me here. I got proof in the pudding, and I will also show you the future if you want, okay? So in reality, news and popular narratives are part of a well-crafted charade, and the goal is to suck out the liquidity from investors like you. If you've lost money or a significant percentage of what you were willing to play with, you know what I'm talking about, okay? And I can prove it to you. So, warning, this info does not sit well with what most people have learned so far in their lifetime or professional trading career, as it may shatter their beliefs. I've been in crypto conferences, talked to people in business events who do stocks. Oh, I've been in stocks 10, 15 years, tell me something new. And when I tell them this, if they're unwilling to listen, or their egos are too big often because they think they know everything, they've seen it all, well, they haven't. So let me show you. We've developed a groundbreaking tool that lets us see which pivotal level that happens to correlate to a specific price, but we don't buy the price. We don't buy a specific asset. We don't care. We can apply it in a minute, on any asset, including precious metals, crypto, stocks, and see where those shifts will happen. Therefore, allowing us, with this system that we have, see where the system will basically send the asset to next, okay? So up or down, it allows us to see us into the future, basically, okay? Now, it sounds crazy, but I got more to show you. So we are able to time the exits and entries through a precision that's unavailable to general public or even seasoned investors and pro traders. I had one guy get so pissed at me, and he's like, well, what about your long-term strategy? I'm like, we don't do long-term strategies because you have to do it so you can do investors and pull money together and do your hedge fund that way. We don't have to because we constantly profit. We do it even on a daily basis for those who want, but in general, what we do is, it's on longer time frames, shorter time frames. Man, I'll show you, okay? And within a month, a stock can drop 25, 35%, and we see that before it happens. Therefore, we have a way better entry. So while you're catching a candle going up and profit maybe 10%, 15%, we got 25, 30, and imagine at scale. Not $1,000, but when you have 100K, million, whatever you're working with or can work, that 300K, 30% drop or entry, that's a lower entry than, you basing your decision based on news or when some popular hedge fund bought it, but then riding down with $1 million, another 20% down, that's, another 200K. And we enter there. So from there, we have a way more powerful entry. Okay, so no fear, no greed, no FOMO driving risky decisions, just pure, decoding the system by mastering these wave level reads, all by design. So we are able to read these major drops and run-ups, helping you catch every major run-up and cash out before the crash. And same thing if it goes down. And if you are familiar with shorting, I'll get into that. Okay, let me show you some examples from recent history. Okay. This is, I'm originally from Europe, from Latvia, so I was giving a buddy of mine who works for a very famous family office, used to be a hedge fund, and I was telling him, I told him, pick 5 stocks, anything, whatever you want, and I told him that this might be one of the, best shorts. There's going to be a few examples, okay? So this was about having a way better entry, and I told him on August 1st, let me pull up these, okay, that you're probably going to see some news about price reforms, blah, 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 to justify the move, but it's already predetermined in the system. And UNH ticker, you can look it up, and I told him where it's going to go on June 12th. That it's going to go to this level, and you can go back in history now and look in August. I don't have the date yet. You see the smaller white arrow. This level arrived, just a couple of dollars off, but I mean, what? That's like 1%. So does it matter on a bigger scale where I gave him an entry at the time? That's going to be 28% lower. So okay, he entered 27% lower, or if you worked with us, that's basically how we work, okay? 28% is a lot. Knowing that in advance gives you an unfair advantage. So, most investors buy stocks, bonds, funds, or crypto, and if the market goes up, they're happy, okay? If it drops, not so much. So, pros take a different approach. Market dropped, they profit. So that's a short position or shorting, profit on a drop of a stock or crypto coin. Long position is, you profit on the rise, which is what most people try to do. Our quantitative finance tool allows us to turn predictions into profitable trades. We don't care if the market goes up or down, we still make money either way in any market conditions, okay? Remember, if you're into crypto, at the point, when was this? I think January 2025 or slightly before, around then. Remember when ETH was close to 4,000 and everyone and all the influencers and whoever you listen to was shouting that, oh, ETH is going to go to 6K and 8K next, maybe even 10. Sure. Imagine what kind of cojones paired with some really serious information that works one needs to have, in this case us and our clients, to be able to short ETH at a time when everyone's convinced it's going to go to 4 and 8 and 6K and whatever, throwing out numbers. shorted from 3.8 down to 2.7 with this kind of a return on investment. Of course, listen, this is not a usual number. Oftentimes it's 25, 35%, let's say on stock run up. But man, all that with proper risk management combined accumulates to those kind of numbers that I was giving you in the beginning. So if you're asking how the hell are these guys able to make 25, 35, 45% a month or so, or in 2 months, well, all these trades combined on stocks or crypto, whatever you like to work with, or our clients do, this is how it comes together. Okay, here's another short. Okay, or here's a more recent one. Okay, when Bitcoin reached 124, and once again, everyone's feeling like they're geniuses because when things go up, when it's green, people are like, oh yeah, Bitcoin 150 next when? From $124,011.88, we shorted it to 117. To some, they don't see those numbers as a big difference, but you can see that when you add leverage to it, when you got a short 100x combined on those numbers, man, you can make a 500% on that short. So here's another example, either shorting or waiting for a better entry. Same with my buddy who I gave this information to on June 13th. I told him to short a stock, one of them that he chose. That was LLY, Eli Lilly. Okay, and here you have the news. I sent him the news. I said, I just want you to see how people are getting programmed and how they make their decisions and how we completely cut through that noise even before. So on that day, and you can look, and even if you find those links, on that day and a couple of days before, this was what was in the whatever financial news. Okay, should you buy LLY stock before June 22nd? A lot more room to grow. Stay invested. While here I am telling him that he needs to short it. Okay, open that LLY short. Okay, and boom, let's see what happened. Versus all the news telling people to do that. Not too long after, you can go back in history in the charts and see, and this comes out. Oh, LLY obliterated for its biggest loss in 25 years. Isn't this crazy? I got the receipts. I told you, this is not it yet. Stay with me, okay? And as it started going down, then some news come out, and that Trump is going to punish pharmaceutical companies and make them lower their prices, and people are reacting to it, but already reacting to it too late because it's already down 10%, 15%. Then people are reacting because like, oh, it's really sliding down, I should be selling, or they're trying to get into it, then not knowing that the entry level, if you were trying to buy it, rebuy it, or buy it, get into it, it will be a lot lower, or where to short it from. That's what I mean when I talk about the levels. We got those levels down. Okay, you can see this right here. So taking the first step, imagine taking the first step towards avoiding losses and taking profits regularly. Okay, in crypto, stocks, precious metals, no more FOMO, emotional trading, all of that stuff that makes people lose money. Okay, working with us in our groundbreaking tool is the fastest way to turn market moves into profit. Okay, we help you catch every major run-up, or and cash out before the crash with stocks, with crypto, in any market condition. And we do proper risk management. Here's a little example, not little, but a good example of how many of the portfolios that we help people manage. If it's a 100K account, as precise as these levels work, we're not going to put everything into one stock or two or three or crypto coins. If you're working with crypto, once again, it's for both of you, both crowds. Okay, crypto, stocks, or if you're into both, it doesn't matter. Okay, this works for all of that. So we make sure that the position size is not too large, and we accumulate those. We don't put everything into one to get that 2,000 ROI out of a Bitcoin short. Okay, we make sure that we also do proper risk management. So if this is something that you're looking for, then let's talk about it. Okay, for now, those who want to take advantage of our advancements and this unique tool, the opportunity is still here. The rules are quite simple and they're in your favor. Okay, funds stay with you, they stay in your exchange. Okay, you don't have to send us the money. And why? I'll tell you in a little bit. Because we work on a performance basis. We make a percentage from your profits, and we only win if you win. And that's why you see in this screenshot here, when a gentleman who, at the time he wanted to become a client, was talking about me, he's like, well, what about, a long-term strategy? I said, listen, we don't do that. We don't. You can go somewhere else if you want to be betting on, all kinds of where ETH is going to go and getting stuck with it. Or this actually particular client, somebody told him, or he listened that, XRP is going to go to $10. I'm like, well, you can wait until it does one day if you want to base your strategy on that. But I said we entered at, what was it, 89 cents on top of my head. And I said the exit at that time when we talked in January, I said is at 302. And later when somebody asked me, I gave this example. I said, well, it did go higher later to what was it, $4 something. I said, yeah, it did. But the significant shift happened around that $3 something level where we exited. So bam, bam, we entered at what, 89 cents or so, and exited. And that's a big profit, and we're out. And it just adds to our portfolio. And that's how we're able to get all that healthy, juicy package of returns into a portfolio, because we're constantly profiting. We're not riding the waves up and down. We enter at the right time where the biggest shift happens and the asset sort of receives new energy. Why energy? Money is energy, and if we think of the waves, something makes them move, right? Either you want to believe this or not, that it's something greater at play pushing these assets. You're thinking it's the, when people are starting to buy or starting to sell, and that's the pressure, selling pressure, buying. None of that matters for us. We have this mathematical tool that works, cuts through the noise, cuts through the news. We give you information before it unfolds. So that's why you see, I said here, I'm here to make money for both sides regularly and fast. This is not to build a 3-year portfolio. We can work together for 3 years if the client wants, if you want. If you're happy, then why would you leave, right? For 6 months, 12 months, but we don't have a long-term strategy. You guys are gonna see, whenever you're watching this, a lot of hedge funds are not gonna do too well because they actually do not have some kind of a unique advantage. They're making these longer-term bets, but the markets don't have to do what they think, they've been doing every 4 cycles for, crypto and whatever else you're used to. Okay, history does not always repeat, and the masses also don't know when to exit a bull market and can't time that exit. And that's why in 2021, boom, Bitcoin fell and people still left. How long? I mean, before that, before I had this tool, I also entered with some assets that I got stuck holding for what, 3-4 years. I can even tell you which ones was it. Star Atlas, great project in crypto, building a AAA game. But man, I bought it for, on top of my head, was it 10 cents? And now it's a fraction of that. So what kind of fraction? Where $1,000 would be $100 or even less, like 50 and less. That's the kind of a dip you can have. And then if you put in 100K into an asset like that, you get the idea, right? I got stuck holding a bunch of things like that before we developed this. This is groundbreaking, okay? You don't gamble. And as much as a project can seem promising, or those of you who hate on crypto for, you know, some legit reasons, because it's a big bubble on many of those, like, oh, it's a great project, like I bought Star Atlas, right? Nothing against them, you know. It seems that it's going to be a great game. It's almost finished and released now, I believe, from what I've seen. Same with stocks. Oh, it's a great company, this and that. Then why the dip? Then why such a huge dip that seems unjustified, but we see that coming before it comes? So towards the end, what I want to tell you is we'll be taking the success of this creation to form a hedge fund structure in 2026 and pool the money partners in one place. We'll be accepting only accredited investors, and it will have a long, short, you know, portfolio trading stocks, crypto, and precious metals. We'll be longing, we'll be shorting, a mix of both. But until then, this is a AI touched up version of me. You can find a button near this video to book a call. Okay, you can schedule a call to find out more in depth how we could help you and what exactly that entails, how this performance-based help looks like, and you can avoid a further roller coaster of uncertainty with your assets, especially when the market gets tough. And trust me, if it wasn't tough enough several times this year, then you're in for a new roller coaster full of surprises. So I will also let you take a peek into the future. Okay, you get price entries, price exits for 3 stocks or 3 crypto coins, or a mix of those, or it can be a precious metal, throw in there too, even the housing market. This, whatever has a chart, whatever people are buying and selling, whatever's in the market, you know, your choice, absolutely free. There's no, you know, like, there's no shenanigans. There's like, what's the catch? There's no catch. I'll tell you what the catch is, okay? 3 of your choices. Why? Because we're fully transparent. And why we're transparent? Because it works. No one offers this, a percentage-based portfolio management where you don't even have to give the money into other companies' hands. Woo! Yeah, tell me more about it, right? So, and the thing is, everyone's after immediate sales. The online, man, the ads I'm getting, it's just ridiculous, you know? They're trying to sell you courses. They're trying to sell you AI bots. They're trying to, like, all these Miami scammer mafia trying to sell you on these prop firms that pay great payouts, showing you 20-year-olds that are supposedly making crazy money. Man, you probably know what I'm talking about. But, you know, if they're so good, why not help people on a performance basis? I think you can figure out the answer, okay? We know that once you experience this yourself, you'll be inclined to work with us. That's how we get clients. That's why I show them the receipts, like I just did with you now, and I have plenty more. And then if you're still skeptical, you know, schedule a call. I give you 3 assets, no rush. You can leave the call. We shake hands and come back once those levels arrive. I've been in crypto events or business events where I believe it was a Raoul Pals event, and on the last day, it was like February 5th or something, there was a market dip. And I met a bunch of guys that told them what we do, and they're like, oh, there's a dip, you know, 5-8%, gotta buy. Influencers saying, you know, Alex Becker on your feed saying, buy the dip. Elio Trades, buy the dip. And I gave those guys, I'm like, pick something, Pikachu. For example, somebody picked Solana. Solana had gone back to all-time highs. Then it went back to 205 on that day or so. I said, no, don't buy it now. Your next entry, and you can check on X. I have a few things I posted publicly. I said your next entry is at what, like 164, and then if it goes lower from there, another shift happens. If it keeps going down, then another chance to buy will be at 119. And guys, all of those, that was at 35%, and even a larger drop from 205 when people said you got to buy Solana. Imagine the losses they had. If you're working with $1 million, that's worth about Rolls Royce. Okay? Now, Same thing with Render Coin. I gave them the entry. I said it's going to go down. What was it? 333. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up now, but you get the idea. We do this all day, every day. I would be happy to chat with you about how we can help you. And we are here to win and win in this together. Schedule a call. We'll get on it and we'll figure out the rest. Thanks. Bye.